From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
With coronavirus infections and deaths rising in the county and across the state, Bozeman School Board says no to a return to full-time in-person classes for middle schools. Coming up, hear what those board members are saying.
COVID restrictions here in Butte are making it difficult for small businesses during this all-important holiday shopping season.
Well, good morning. You're watching Montana This Morning. I'm Holly Brantley here with Chet Lehman and Matt Elwell, and we're inching our way through the week. And
we are.
We're out for a warm, windy day.
Temperatures are fantastic this morning. We're not talking a lot of areas dealing with a lot of scraping. There may be a few.
Oh, that's always awesome.
There may be a little bit of light frost, but still temperatures into the 20s for most of the area. 46 in Ennis. And dealing with some windier conditions down the Madison Valley. Our daytime highs will be back into the 50s today, but we are going to see some gusty winds, especially for the afternoon, early part of the evening. You see traffic moving along just fine in Butte. You would too if it's 26, 27 degrees outside. Temperatures continue to be pretty mild. We'll talk more about what you can expect as you head later in the week and toward the weekend. That's coming up from the Billion Auto Group with patio.
Montana looking a little shiny there this morning too.
Yeah, a little gleam on the roadways.
A little gleam.
Yeah.
6:30, our top story this half hour. An Amber Alert for an 11-year-old girl from Anaconda has been canceled.
Police say Adriana Correa was found and is now safe. Last night it was reported that the child got into a vehicle outside her school and may have been taken in by a non-custodial parent. Because of concern for the girl's safety, an Amber Alert was issued. You may have received a repeat of the alert on your phone shortly after 3 a.m. today. Now, as far as we know, that second alert was in error. In an email, state law enforcement has canceled the alert.
In other headlines this morning, last night, Bozeman School Board trustees voted unanimously in support of postponing the school district's target date for middle school students to transition to full-time in-person learning. Middle schoolers will remain in the blended model with that vote. Target date for middle school has changed from November 23rd to January 11th of next year. Now, earlier this fall, trustees voted in favor of students transitioning from the blended model to full-time in-person learning, while allowing students to also enroll online for remote learning. Elementary students have already transitioned to full-time in-person learning. That happened back on the 2nd of this month. High school, a target date there set for January 25th.
We are experiencing significant daily staffing challenges related to COVID-19 positive cases and associated quarantines of close contacts in our schools.
We understand that the blended model is not working for every student. We understand that the social emotional needs of the kids are not necessarily being met and it's challenging. We concluded that this is the best recommendation at the current time, given the current challenges that COVID is throwing at the schools.
Also at last night's meeting, the school board went into executive session for nearly 2 hours to discuss Superintendent Bob Connor's performance evaluation. The chairman of the school board, Sandy Wilson, announced Connors will remain on paid administrative leave. The board will schedule another executive session in the near future.
Well, Butte-Silver Bow County is reporting 3 additional COVID-19 deaths. One
at Butte's Copper Ridge Health and Rehab, bringing the facility's total to 4. First death now reported at the Springs Assisted Living Facility, and the other one is a Butte-Silver Bow resident. That's 18 people who have died in Butte-Silver Bow County due to COVID-19.
Butte-Silver Bow Health Officer Karen Sullivan says the county is asking people to stay home as much as possible. She says she realizes that an incredible sacrifice, especially economically, but adds the virus loves people being together, and health experts are trying to thwart that.
In other headlines, the Park County Health Department reporting 2 deaths at the Livingston Healthcare. On Sunday, a man in his 70s passed away, the first Park County resident to die. Friday, a man also in his 70s from North Dakota died. He was in the Livingston Hospital because of hospital shortages in North Dakota.
Now, across Montana, there are 17 new COVID-19 deaths. That makes a total of 553 people who have died in the state from the virus. The Gallatin City County Health Department says it has 79 new cases with 28 people in hospitals. The state health department shows 869 new cases today. Across Montana, 435 people are in hospitals due to the virus. And as COVID-19 cases rise here in Montana and around the country, local health officers and doctors say limiting your celebration to people in your own household is key to preventing even bigger outbreaks. As cases rise here in Montana, local health officers and doctors say celebrating with your house is the key to stopping the spread. If you do decide to gather, though, don't be shy about wearing a mask. Take another step towards safety by bringing your own food and asking guests to do the same. Now that includes plates, cups, and utensils. Single-use condiments and containers are the best options too. You should also limit the number of cooks in the kitchen and have one person as a designated server. Even with all that in mind, local doctors still advise against any travel.
And unfortunately, small household gatherings are an important contributor to the rise in cases. And if we do gather for the holidays, we are likely to drive even further spikes in case numbers.
Now, if you do travel, as far as getting to your destination, remember travel restrictions are constantly changing, so check right up until you leave. Doctors recommend getting a flu shot also before you go, and say traveling by car is the safest option. Now, you can hear our full interview with Dr. Lowe, including his reaction to a potential vaccine, anytime on our website.
In other headlines, the holiday season important for small businesses. Recent restrictions due to COVID-19 could make things difficult, but economic leaders in Butte have started an online forum to try to help make the season as bright as possible. MTN's John Amy has the story.
Business leaders in Butte have started a bi-weekly online forum to help small businesses deal with added restrictions due to the coronavirus while making it through the all-important holiday season.
This is a tough time. You know, businesses are scared too. They need to pay their rent. They need to keep their doors open.
Butte has put together COVID chat for business owners and the community to ask questions and learn about business loans and advice to help them through this time of year.
This is the biggest time of the year for a lot of these retailers. This is when they make their bread and butter around the holiday season.
It is concerning to keep our business open. But it's also really concerning for us to keep people happy. We've got neighbors and we live in this community and we want to take care of each other.
The Butte Health Department recently ordered reduced number of customers in stores as positive COVID-19 cases spike in the community.
It's not going anywhere, unfortunately. You know, we're looking at probably the next 6 to 12 months of COVID, and we want to be a good resource and we want to be a good community member.
The pandemic has forced many small businesses here in Butte to be more innovative, to switch to selling their products online and offering delivery, just like the big stores do.
Being a small business, people don't immediately think that we have an e-commerce, but we do. And we're just as efficient as the big box stores, Amazon, Walmart, Target, all those other places that people go shop. We can compete right next to them.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
6:37 now. With healthcare costs on the rise, growing number of Americans are throwing out the old way of seeing a doctor.
They're turning up a membership model instead. A monthly or annual fee gets you direct access to a doctor, no insurance needed.
As Asher Korashi found, it's a model that some say cuts their medical costs.
I was just miserable.
20 years into her career, bogged down by red tape, too many patients, and long days,
the joy of medicine is gone, and then you're just doing paperwork.
Dr. Shaila Pai Verma was looking for a better way to practice medicine. So a year ago, she started a new primary care practice with a new business model.
The patient basically has a direct contract with the physician, and they take insurance companies out of it.
Patients pay a flat monthly or yearly fee. In exchange, they receive a broad range of primary care services and quick, unlimited access to their doctor via in-person office visits, phone, or by text.
Everyone wants everything immediate, right? And so I think this is it. You know, it's good, especially in this time, for people to have access.
Membership fees range from about $125 to $200 per month on average, about $250 less than having typical health insurance. Most patients still carry catastrophic coverage for emergency treatments and hospitalizations, but that insurance is usually only about $50 to $100 a month, meaning patients still save money. For Bonnie Michelli and her family, it was all about access.
With this, it's just so much easier to just know that I can contact directly here within a few hours for any issues that I'm having.
In late September, a bipartisan proposal was introduced in Congress that would expand access to the model and allow people to use their health savings account for direct primary care. Because they see fewer patients than traditional practices, some critics warn the model could worsen the shortage of primary care physicians, a trend already fueled by burnout. But according to a recent study, DPC members had 25% lower hospital admissions, and the cost of ER claims was reduced by 54%.
There's less ER visits and, better health care for the patient.
While there is still debate, for a growing number of Americans, it's becoming a simplified health insurance alternative.
Honestly, just so nice to know what I'm paying every month, or if you do the annual, what you're getting for that money, and you know exactly who to go to when you have a problem.
Reporting from Chicago, I'm Usher Qureshi.
I think it's more likely to get people to go to the doctor too. I'm already
I do
paying
too.
for it. It's unlike your insurance. You're already paying for it, and then you go to the doctor and you still got to pay for it again anyway.
Right.
And go through all the paperwork to dealing with it. This cuts that out.
So many unique options now.
I think that's interesting to look into.
It's a lot to keep up with, but it's good to keep up with too.
Absolutely true. I can certainly understand the burnout from the physician's point of view as well.
Oh,
That's
me
just crazy.
too. When she said that,
Well,
all
every
you're
time you go to
doing
the
is
doctor's
paperwork.
office, there's a million people in there too, and they have to, crazy stuff. 6:39, more crazy stuff to talk about
That's
too.
right.
When we come back, Cirque du Soleil says it's closing one of its Vegas shows permanently because of COVID-19. After the break, find out what the group is saying about the pandemic.
But first, let's find out what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, COVID cases spike again at nursing homes while we continue to see a record number of new cases nationwide. Why there's concern the virus may spread to healthcare workers who are serving the most vulnerable. Also, Britain's trying to test an entire city for COVID-19. We're going to take you inside Operation Moonshot, it's called, to see what lessons it may have for cities here in this country. And first on CBS This Morning, I'm so psyched about this. Formula One racing's only black driver, that is Lewis Hamilton, joins us as 7-time world champion. We'll discuss how he's fighting racism and bringing more diversity to the sport. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.